Ladies and gentlemen, it is that special time of year. The Super Bowl has come and gone. We now have a champion in the National Football League. But for racing fans, a Super Bowl, regardless who's in it, is a promissory note that racing is right around the corner. And we are finally here. Daytona week. Tonight is qualifying. Couple tweaks there. We'll talk about it. We're going to talk about Bowman Grey. We're going to talk the Daytona 500, obviously. And you got Xfinity. We got, the O'Reilly series. That's going to take a minute to get used to. You want to play along, do a fun game. As long as you're not driving, take a drink every time I say Xfinity series. And then the Craftsman Truck series, which is notable because we got a Hall of Famer running in the truck series. So, without further ado, let's dive in to Bowman Grey. Before we do, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any NASCAR, Formula One, winning season, football. Oh, those months are going to be busy. But it's a long ways away. So, without further ado, let's dive in to... We're going to talk a little bit about Bowman Grey. It's not a points race. It's an exhibition. It's fun. So, obviously, it was a crap show. Bowman Grey, it was an absolute mess. It was hard to watch. It was caution after caution after caution. And in the exhibition format that they have for Bowman Grey, it is the caution laps do not count. And what should have been just a nice hour and a half, just fun little thing to kind of get the juices flowing, became a 3-hour crap show. And it's not the fault of Bowman Grey by any stretch of the imagination. Bowman Grey is a phenomenal track. I think NASCAR should... I'm okay with NASCAR going there for the clash. I'm fine with it. And I get the snow, the sleet. It's a once a decade type of situation there. So I don't think Bowman Grey should lose its spot on the NASCAR slate. I think it's a really good spot for the clash. But NASCAR trying to run this using the rain tires, it doesn't work. Oddly enough, it kind of worked at New Hampshire when they ran it a couple years ago. But ovals and rain tires, it doesn't work, especially on a track like that where there's just no room to operate. At least at New Hampshire, you have some room to operate. And here, it just wasn't. I mean, it's a quarter-mile flat track. And it's very tight. There's a lot of sliding. There's nothing. You got nothing to lose, everything to gain. And it was a perfect recipe for disaster that never should have happened. It was ran on a Wednesday. It was something that never should have happened, and it happened. Now, I'm thrilled for Ryan Preece that he got that win. He absolutely deserved it. And I really hope we see Ryan Preece really take that next step now that he's got that taste of victory. Granted, not a points race, and it doesn't count for anything, but you got that taste. And You're going to a track and I'm gonna say it like this: Ryan Preece is going to a track that owes him one. It owes him. He went airborne twice last year at Daytona. I believe both were at Daytona. Trying to think off the top of my head, but I think both of them were at Daytona. And I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm not quite ready to make my official prediction yet, but it's coming later in the show. But Daytona owes him one, and I get it. Racing doesn't owe you anything. Well, I'm willing to make it the exception for Ryan Preece because my goodness. And part of that's on the cars, but that is going to be for when it inevitably happens again when I do the reaction show at the end of the Daytona 500. It'll be coming out as quick as I can possibly get it out there. But anyway, I think NASCAR. I get why they were trying to do this, but it wasn't meant to be, so don't force it. This race should have never have happened. It was snowing, it was sleeting, it was a Wednesday, completely and totally off kilter. And it's one thing when it's in the regular season because you gotta get those in. But this one, it wasn't that big. And North Carolina, you have plenty of options within reasonable distance to go and cash in that free ticket that NASCAR gave out to fans who tried to attend the Clash. I mean, you got Richmond, you got Martinsville, Darlington, Charlotte itself. I mean, North Wilkesboro now. And, I mean, it was a race that never should have happened. Give the fans a refund. Give them a ticket voucher for a race. Say, hey, it's just one of those years where it just wasn't meant to be. And the rain tires just made it worse. So, it's unfortunate that it went the way that it did. But I'm very happy for Ryan Preece, and he absolutely deserves it. All right, moving in to Daytona. So, how to watch the 2026 Daytona 500, the full Speed Week schedule. Obviously, at this point, practice, by the time you watch this, has probably already happened, unless you're one of those dedicated fans, which I am so grateful for. I appreciate it so much. But practice is at 10 a.m., and then at night, under the lights, Daytona 500 qualifying. And that takes us, and this is for the newer fans or fans who have only been around for a few years and ain't quite used to how Daytona qualifying actually goes. Plus, there was a little bit of a switch or a little tweaking to it that went under the radar for something that we'll be talking about here in a minute. So, as some may know, not all, the two fastest cars in the single car qualifying are locked into the race. Now, in previous years, that if they were at the top, if they finished ahead of the other open spots, and those are cars that are not guaranteed a spot into the race. So you have 36 cars that make up the field. Those are the charter teams. They're guaranteed a spot no matter what. Then you have the two fastest cars in single car qualifying of the open teams, which now they are locked into that spot. And then to make up the 39th and 40th car, you have the top two finishers in the Daytona in the in the Daytona duels, which we'll talk about that in a minute as well. So now, and it used to be the top two who finished was in, or the I think well actually it'd be top spot would finish what of the transfers would qualify for the Daytona 500. Now, if the fastest qualifier was in that, then that spot on time goes to the next fastest car. Well, that has now changed. Once they qualify on speed, that is their slot. So it is taking a slot. So now, when you qualify on time, that is how you're in. You're in on time. And then the transfer spot is for all the other cars in that race to fight for that last spot. Now, they're saying that it's a 41 car field, blah 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 blah, because Jimmy Johnson. But Jimmy Johnson, he's more than likely going to be able to either qualify in on time, or he's going to be able to race his way in. Now, he may not. He may not, but something crazy could happen. But so there is a potential for a 41 car field. Jimmy Johnson is locked in. He got the waiver that Helio Castroneves got 1 year ago. So that will so that's that. And then the other rule, which all you can really do is laugh at it. Drivers can no longer block the air with their hand when going down the straightaway. Those who have watched qualifying have seen, while they're driving, they put their hand up over that little opening in the window net to try to block the airflow. I don't know how much that actually does. I know, I think it was at Talladega, Joey Logano, his gloves were actually webbed, so it would have a better effect to stop it, and you'd be able to in your hands and block that little bit more of air. So if they do that, they will lose their qualifying time. They can no longer do that. So to recap that section, if you qualify on time, you are not eligible for a transfer spot in the duels. So you're no longer race for the transfer spot, and if you're not in the top two, you have to race your way in. You cannot hope for this person to be in the next duel to be able to get into the transfer spot so they don't have to qualify in on time. So it's all said and done at the checkered flag, no matter what. Now let's get to the open cars. The cars that are absolutely 110% not locked in, except for Jimmy Johnson, to the Daytona 500. So, first things first, the fan favorite, Justin Allgaier, with Junior Motorsports making their second entry into the Cup Series. Lots of people rumbling about Junior Motorsports potentially now making that jump to the Cup Series. Problem is they got to get a charter, and those are awfully expensive. And yeah, so Dale Jr. and Junior Motorsports making the entry with Justin Allgaier piloting the number 40 Traveler Whiskey Chevrolet. Corey LaJoie in RFK's fourth entry. So RFK trying to get to a 4-car squad for this race. Corey Heim in the fourth 2311 entry. He is the most talented driver that is not in a cup seat right now, and it's quite a crying shame. Chandler Smith in the Front Row Motorsports Ford, Anthony Alfredo in the Beard Motorsports Chevrolet, JJ Yealy in the New York Racing Team Chevrolet, Casey Mears in the 66 Garage 66 Ford. Okay, that threw me off a little bit. And then my man, NASCAR's last outlaw, BJ McLeod, the number 78 Live Fast Motorsports Chevrolet. And then obviously Jimmy Johnson, who is locked in via the provisional. So the provisional is a little. So yes, Jimmy Johnson's locked in the race. That is a guarantee. He is in the race. Now, if he doesn't have to use the provisional, if he doesn't have to. But if he has to use that provisional, he is not eligible for points, which doesn't matter. And he is also not eligible for the prize money. That's going to be important. If he wins, that's a lot of $1 million that you're not going to get. So, yeah, it does. So, yeah. Is it the end of the world if Jimmy Johnson doesn't race his way in or qualify his way in? No. But you're not eligible to get anything financially or points-wise if he has to fall upon that provisional, which, again, I don't think he will. So, 4 of these cars will be in. And my predictions on who makes the race. I think Justin Allgaier is going to find his way in. I think Corey LaJoie is going to find his way in. Although I think Allgaier is going to be able to get on speed. I think LaJoie is going to have to race his way in. Corey Heim, I think he's going to have to race his way in. Chandler Smith, I think he's going to miss. Anthony Alfredo, I think he's going to miss. JJ Yealy, he's going to miss. Casey Mears is going to miss. BJ McLeod, as much as it hurts, he's going to miss. And I think Jimmy Johnson's going to be able to get in on time. So, my 4 that gets in is Corey LaJoie, Justin Allgaier, Corey Heim, and Jimmy Johnson. And I don't think Jimmy Johnson's going to have to use that provisional. So, therefore, we will have a 40-car field for the Daytona 500. And there are many things that can influence this. What's your draw in the duels? Is Justin Allgaier going to be able to get 2, 3, or all 4 of the Hendrick cars to help him along? Is Corey LaJoie going to get some RFK drivers to help him along? Is Corey Heim going to be able to get a teammate or 2? I mean, Casey Mears and JJ Yealy, they've been in the garage for many years. They got friends. Who's to say that one of the Denny Hamlin doesn't try to get JJ Yealy into the show? Or BJ McLeod. I mean, I don't know about you, but I would rather go up against Live Fast Motorsports or Garage 66 than pretty much a pseudo 5th Hendrick car, a 4th RFK car, or a 3rd 2311. So there's going to be strategy here on this. So we'll see what happens. But give me LaJoy, Allgaier, Johnson, and Heim to make the show. And as far as the duels go, those are Thursday night. They start at 7. They are on Fox Sports 1. And then after that, they're doing a documentary on Dale Sr. And pretty much the evolution of the of safety since his passing. That is going to be interesting. I hope they don't mess it up. My faith in Fox has been lost over the past decade. But see what happens. Now the duels themselves, they're these are for the newer folks. Two races. Two races, one night. The first race determines the inside row, second on back, or second row on back. You qualify in the front row, you are locked into that spot. So that's another thing I should have probably. Daytona qualifying, it only determines the front row and the two fastest of the open teams. So you qualify first, you qualify second. That is where you'll start outside of a crash. Then that's a whole different can of worms that we'll get into if we get to that point. Now, the duels. As I said, they determine the second row on back. So, if you didn't have a good qualifying day, let's just say you got a little skirmish off turn 4, and you end up qualifying 31st. Well, if you win that duel, you're starting third in the Daytona 500. And if the pole sitter wrecks, you're starting on pole, bud. Congratulations. So those are the duels. Friday, you have ARCA truck qualifying on Fox Sports 1. NASCAR O'Reilly practice on the CW app. CW's done a tremendous job with the now O'Reilly series. I'm very happy with what the CW's done. Daytona practice, and then you have the truck race. And that is the return of Dodge into NASCAR as they are with Colleague Racing. And they have quite a few. They have quite a few cars in there. So let's just dive into the trucks. Let's see, Fresh Florida. Okay. Oh, okay. We not getting no entry list. Okay. All right. Really thought I'd be able to get the entry list a lot easier. Driver, craftsman. The heck? Justin Haley, as many of you know, won the night race at Daytona a few years back. I think it was the last time they were supposed to run on the Saturday night, but they ended up finishing Sunday. Got rained out, won the race, went on to be in the Cup Series. You got Daniel Dye. He is in the Ram. You also have Brendan Queen. He's in the Ram. And Tony Stewart, which is not in there. I cannot believe there isn't an entry list. What in the world? There's no entry list. Unbelievable. Okay. But anyway, Tony Stewart makes his return to NASCAR in the trucks at Daytona in the Ram for Colleague. And I don't know about you, but pretty much any day except Sunday on Daytona weekend, Tony Stewart wins. He doesn't win it on Sunday, though. But good thing for the trucks, they're not running on Sunday. At least they're not scheduled to. So, give me Tony Stewart to win that race and Dodge. Coming back into the Cup Series the same way they left, winning. As many of you may have remembered, way back when, in 2012, Dodge's last race was winning the championship, piloted by Brad Keselowski, where he got a little tipsy and he said some interesting things. And, well, at the time it was interesting, but he was having himself a real good night. But anyway, give me Tony Stewart to win the truck race. Give me Tony Stewart against the field. And then, Saturday, you got O'Reilly qualifying, the ARCA race, which is always interesting, Daytona third practice, and then the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race on the CW, 120 laps. And, yeah, I'm taking Austin Hill. He's really good at this. He is very good at plate racing. And I'm honestly surprised that RCR isn't bringing a third car, bringing in that 33 for Austin Hill to run. So, give me Austin Hill to win this race. There aren't a lot of big names in this. A lot of the big names, they don't run Daytona anymore because hitting the wall hurts. But nonetheless, give me Austin Hill to run to win it. I think that'd be the third straight year. I think it would be. Anyway, Daytona 500, the 68th running, 200 laps, 500 miles in the 68th running of the Daytona 500. Let me tell you. This, I think we're going to be seeing a resurgence in NASCAR. And I'm very, very excited for it. They are marketing into Times Square. They have a stupid loud billboard they broke a record for, which I don't know if I pulled that one up. But the big thing here is, where'd it go? There it is. The Speedway Racing. They're saving fuel. So, this has been a big thing over the last number of years. They're running half, quarter throttle, staying in the draft. Nobody wants to be in the lead because you have to be full throttle. Therefore, when it comes time to pit, you have to stay on pit road longer. You lose track position. Since you're not really focused on the throttle, you can run 3-4 wide. And when you have that kind of jam, there's nowhere to go. And it's just not as good as it's just not as easy to go back and forth as it was back in the day. And in the article here by motorsport.com, Matt Weaver, he does a really good job. And Elton Sawyer, he said he pretty much said the short answer is we've talked about it. Here's where it's conflicting for us, John Patalik. And we will sit there in the tower, watching the race and listening to the broadcast and scanners. And if we turn that off, they're 5 and 6 wide, and the fans don't know how fast they're going. They're all standing up and cheering. Lord help me, please. Lord help me. You can't go 5 wide at Daytona. It's a big track, but it's not that wide. You're not going 5 wide there. Talladega, you might be able to do it. It's wide enough. Not the most comfortable feeling in the world, but, you know. But anyway, continuing on. So it's like, okay, what are we trying to fix? We can change something, but what is it really going to fix? I think that's the question we ask ourselves. And we do. But Scott Miller runs all kinds of different models with presumptions and how we would change the stages. But what are we wanting to change? I don't think we can actually fix it. Of course you can. Of course you can. That's the great thing about racing. Is if you have people smart enough, you can have places that weren't exciting, use a little bit of engineering, and you have an exciting race. Like what I would do, and what you have to do, and why they haven't done it already is beyond me. They're heading in the right direction, but they're not quite past that proverbial finish line, is eliminate the stages. Get rid of them. We don't need them. It was a good idea in theory. It was good on paper. It was put into action. And it sucks. That's the reality. It sucks. And here, it makes it more blatant, more obvious on just how bad the racing is. When they're not trying to get all they can get because they know that caution's coming. And when you split it up like that, then you are, I mean, it's just, the strategy is so simple, which the strategy itself and the way that I would do it is, and obviously this is depending on if you can get people to come with you, but at the first lap, you are in that window. You take it. You come down, you top off, and then you go. You get enough cars with you, you stay in line, and you will be able to catch that front pack by the time it's time for the front pack to come down and pit. Because they're all gonna be fighting to get the lead. If you stay in line and you actually, and also there's just things that happen. Lap car gets in the way. This happens, that happens. Car gets a little loose. Got to check up. Things happen. And if you're in that bigger group running around in that front group, a small thing can turn very, very large. So I would be pitting as soon as that window opens, both in the first and second stage. Now, that third stage, that is where things get a little bit interesting. Because I believe it's 60, 60, and 80. This one, once the window opens, then once that fuel window opens, you wait until the caution comes out and you run it dry. Because that caution is going to come out. They ain't going to be running a clean race. Daytona is not tailored for that. So, as soon as you get that caution in that pit window, you come in or you run it dry. That is the strategy that at least I would run in the Daytona 500. Because I think you can get I do think you can get about 40 laps, about 45 to 50 laps, if I remember correctly, which I probably don't. I'm just going off of the top of my head here. So you have to that's just the strategy that I would implement. And we'll see how many others will follow suit on that. I believe Toyotas are usually the ones that stay late, and it's usually the Fords that and well, usually the Fords follow the Toyotas, if I remember correctly. I haven't had a chance to go back and watch the previous races yet, which I may very well might. We'll see what. Oh, excuse me. We'll see what kind of time I get. Now, I think we covered everything. Yeah, got that. Got that. Got that. Got that. Got that. As disappointing as that was. So, it is now time for the Daytona 500 prediction. William Byron has won the last two Daytona 500s in two very different ways. The first one, strong car, really good car, and earned the win. The second one was pure, unadulterated luck. And that's going to be the big issue here. And that's going to be the big thing here. And I think, like I said, I think NASCAR's headed in the right direction on this. And Denny Hamlin said it in his podcast, Action's Detrimental, on Dirty Mo Radio. Or Dirty Mo Media. That it's turned into a luck-based sport. It's no longer about skill. You take the championship last season, for an example. No caution comes out late in that race in Phoenix. Denny Hamlin is your Cup Series champion. But we got a caution. And it wasn't because, or if we were in the old system, I believe it would have been Christopher Bell winning his second if everything stayed according to the Winston Cup Series. And we'll be following that one too, I could promise you that. Which, like I said, the system's a lot better now than it was. But it was a very dark period in NASCAR during that span. Because you would have, I think Harvick would have 4 championships. Elliott would have won 1. Oh, he's got 1. I believe Lars? No. I think Hamlin would have had 2. But anyway, it's a look. It's one thing for Daytona to have. Obviously, you got to have a little bit of luck to win at Daytona. There's no question on that. But you're going to have drivers pushing and shoving towards the end to try to win the race. That's where you get the wrecks to happen. And it's going to end up being by pure luck somebody wins. And that's what makes this race very hard to predict. And it's just, and it's the reality of the racing here. And it got to the point where it was a guaranteed it was going to be a crash. The only question was NASCAR going to throw the caution or not? because that was an issue last year. So, question being, who wins this Daytona 500? And I don't know. I don't know. I can go with the homer pick and pick the 24 or the 88. But and this is just a gut feel, nothing else. But I think this Daytona 500, you're going to have a first-time winner. Someone who has never won a Cup Series race before. I think that's what we're going to get. So, Chastain, out. Cindric, out. Dillon, out. Gregson, maybe, but I don't think so. He always ends up in a wreck. Larson, no. Keselowski, actually, I'm going to keep Keselowski there because I do like him. I do like that. Daniel Suarez, out. Kyle Busch, going to keep him there, even though he's won. Elliott, out. Ty Dillon, don't make me laugh. Denny Hamlin, out. Blaney, out. The Dinger, he ain't bad, but out. Busher, he ain't bad, but out. Briscoe, out. Bell, out. Bear, Wood Brothers in Daytona, I tell you what. But I think out. Logano, Bubba, Byron, Gillen, maybe. Herbst, come on now. Chandler, out. Zane, maybe. Allgaier, keep him in there. Custer, out. John Hunter, maybe. Eric Jones, out. Yaley, out. Reddick, maybe. But I think out. He always ends up in a wreck here. Stenhouse, he could win it, but I think he's going to end up in a wreck. Bowman, out. Ware, out. Gibbs, out. Priest, he's owed one. Alfredo, no. Mears, no. Heim, Corey Heim, oh my God. Imagine the media nightmare that would cause for 2311. How the hell do you have Riley Herbst in there, not Corey Heim? He did it. Michael McDowell, out. Hocevar, if he can keep his nose clean. That's going to be the problem. You got to have friends here. Hocevar doesn't have a whole lot of friends. So that's an issue. McLeod, out. Johnson, we were that close from getting 3-time Daytona 500 champ Jimmy Johnson with his first being in Toyota. We were close. But I don't think so. Zilich, SVG, and then Corey LaJoie. So, here's the thing. Oddly enough, you can draw some comparisons here. So, we're going to knock it down to LaJoie, Johnson, Priest, Allgaier, AJ Allmendinger, and Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch. Now, there has been a weird sort of thing where a driver who gets injured, much like Brad Keselowski, somehow finds a way to win a race. I mean, for God's sake, Denny Hamlin won with a broken foot at Martinsville. Now, granted, Denny Hamlin is the god of Martinsville, and he's a god at a lot of places. But, and I know I kind of said at the top a first-time winner, but, oh gosh. I'm feeling Keselowski, but I also want to see Zilich win. I want to see a rookie win. I think the last rookie to win was Chris Buescher in the fog race at Pocono. in 2016? 14? No, I think it was 14. Anyway, I'm gonna take Keselowski. I that was a horrible intro. It might be a first time winner. Brad Keselowski. Oh, just thinking through it. Give me Keselowski to finally capture the Daytona 500 trophy. And oh my goodness, what heartbreak would it be if it was Kyle Busch finishing second, photo finish style? Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex in 2019. Yeah, yeah, I think 19. Just imagine. That's what I'm rooting for. I want to see. I want to see a finish akin to 2000. Let's see. No, '06 was Johnson. '07 was Harvick. '07 style finish. All hell is breaking loose behind him coming into the tri-oval. Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, side by side, straight up drag race to the finish, and give me Keselowski to win. That is what I want to see. I want to see Keselowski and Kyle Busch duke it out. Give me BK in the victory. I don't know how much I'm going to regret that one later, but yeah, it is what it is. So, all right. I'm Dylan Hoderth. This is the Dylan Hoderth Show. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see y'all in the next one.